Busy show on today's DNVR Broncos podcast. We're breaking down the NFLPA survey that I think did the Broncos dirty. We're going to explain why. Plus, we're diving into the tight end prospects on today's show, and we're going to round out with some media drama, and it all starts now. Report card time on the DNVR Broncos podcast, where the Broncos were given A's all the way to F's. Not by us, by their own players. And we're going to talk about it on the DNVR Broncos podcast. Big show today, special show today. Make sure to hit us with the thumbs up if you're tuning in with us in the Toyota chat. And of course, we are live in the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores. We got Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis to my left, Henry Chisholm to my right. We got Dion and Yahir behind the camera, and Zach Stevens rocking and rolling with you today. Fellas, how we doing?
Feeling good on this Thursday.
Yeah. We got some super cheap club level tickets last night. It was like an hour before the game. We're just like, yeah, why not? So we went and watched the Avs win.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's a super cheap club level ticket?
They were $76 each.
Yeah?
Front row club level. Yeah,
Wow.
I know. They're usually like $250. Yeah, so I had already sold mine like a week ago, and then I was just kind of pay attention. I was like, oh, there's a steal. Might as well.
So you, even though you sold your seats, you still look for deals to get other seats?
We're like 3 blocks away. Well, she came home yesterday and was like, maybe we should go to a happy hour or something. I was like, okay. She had to like keep working until like 5:30. I was like, okay, well, that idea didn't work. I was like, want to go to the Avs game? And she was like, yeah, I don't think so. And so I looked at the tickets and I convinced her.
Dang, life without kids sounds amazing.
It really is.
Like all that has to be planned out from jump with babysitters and everything. If you have kids. If you just want to get up and go to a happy hour, like, no, you're not doing that. They have taekwondo, so we got to do that first.
Yeah.
Oh,
then they got homework,
boy.
baths, then the babysitter comes, and then,
Are they
it's a
good?
lot. Who?
The
My kids are the
taekwondoers? Yeah.
babysitters. Yeah, they'll jack you up.
Really?
Yeah, that's no joke.
Wow.
They'll just jack Henry up, or they'll jack you up too?
No, just Henry.
Yeah.
They're both green belts. My
Okay.
younger kids are green belts, so they know a couple things.
Are you picking up some moves?
Yeah, I've been watching because you watch and you're like, oh, I could do that, but I'm not stepping in there at all. And I was about to try a class because Jarrell Casey,
Oh, yep.
he does it, and
He
then he
does.
got injured. He was walking with a
right.
cane, like right as he's trying to tell me it's so much fun, you can do it. I'm like, nah, I'm out.
It's like the episode of The Office. Like we should just rent out a dojo and have at it.
No, not picking up. Not picking up.
I feel like it could be a good time.
A former NFL player doing taekwondo would be pretty scary if they're good.
If they're good,
Yeah.
We've seen some former NFL players hop in the octagon and get slept, so
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's
it's not
that's
as easy
true.
as it looks.
If
Yeah.
you were to do another sport later on in life, like try to do it professionally, what would it be?
It would have to be fighting because I feel like that's the only thing you can enter at this age and do.
Yep.
Everything else, like baseball, basketball, would have to have started a long time ago.
Golf?
I could
do
definitely
golf
do golf for
a little bit.
forever.
Well, because
Yep.
they
I
have
like
like the
to golf,
senior
too.
tour. So you have to be like
I'm not
55.
that old. Like I can
No, but I mean
Wow.
like any other. If I want to make the NFL, the ship has sailed.
for
Like
sure.
by the time I put like 3 years of work into it, like there's no way.
but I
In
think I
3 years,
can
it
do
wouldn't
3
even
years
work
of
anyway.
just grind out on tour to make the PGA tour.
If you go,
3
I mean
years.
those guys are usually pretty young too.
They
There are a couple
are.
who stick around,
But a
like,
lot of them
I
will
believe
be,
in you,
a
Todd.
lot of them come from college,
Yep.
so they have school and stuff. I don't have nothing. I'll get
You
a
have kids.
babysitter. I'll get a
Taekwondo.
babysitter, and I'll be just from 9 to 2:30 all golf every day.
I'm free. I'll come with.
See,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Like if you
We
gave
got a show here at 11, guys. Can't do
do it
9
from
to
the golf
2:30.
course. Do it from the
Dang.
golf course.
Yeah.
I feel like a golf course
Take a
shows
lunch
better
break.
vibes anyway. You know, you out there drinking beers. You have a good show out there.
If you're training professionally to be a golfer, I don't think you're drinking beers on the course.
Maybe not every day. Just the weekdays when we have the shows.
You think?
Weekends, no beers. That's serious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's when it
Yeah.
gets serious, is on the
Yeah.
weekends. And let's get serious on this show because The NFLPA, this is the third year that they have done this. They've put out a report card for every single team, giving them grades through 10 different categories, and then ultimately ending in a final grade. And it's pretty much the players grading how they think their organization is, from ownership all the way down to the food in the cafeteria. And I think the Broncos were done dirty here, and we're going to break down why on this, break down maybe why some grades were bad, if they truly are bad grades, and let's just dive right into this. And let's start with the first category that they did, and that was treatment of families. And this is an interesting one. This is not something that anyone outside of a player thinks of, like outside of the building. I don't know if any fans think of like, hey, I wonder how the Broncos treat the players' families. So this shows just how in-depth it gets here. And the Broncos with a C- here, 23rd out of 32 teams, so bottom 10 for this. Todd, how important is this when you're a player with a team, how the team treats your family?
It's really important, but if you're winning, it kind of goes out the window. Like, winning is the most important thing. And I can't speak for how it is now, but when I was here, I will say that they didn't have the best facilities for our families. So like at the Saints, after every game, they have like a giant suite where all the families go into. They have food that's catered. Everybody's kids are hanging, and like you just stay there for like 2 or 3 hours just hanging out and talking. Here it's more of a garage tunnel.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of sitting in the cold waiting for you to come.
Well, and now what it's like, it's not much better than that. What they do is you can still stand in the tunnel area where it's, I guess, heated or cooled a little bit, but it's still open to the outside. Or they block off, 20 yards of the field after the game for families to go and stand and wait for the players to come out. But for most of the football season, it's freezing cold outside. And so they've maybe downgraded from that area to now it's outside, which is not comfortable at all. And that was kind of one of the complaints. And this was, the Broncos don't have one of those rooms in the stadium for families to hang out before, during, and after games. And in fact, they have to wait in the cold. So I can't really defend this one. I think this is a C- here.
And going back to where you started about how this is like, these are things we don't necessarily know about. Like, that's kind of the point, is that the reason the NFLPA started doing this 3 years ago was so that players who are signing as free agents know what they're getting into. Because it's easy to see like, oh, this is a good football team. If I go there, there's a good chance we'll win. It's tougher to see these other things. And so they actually had a great turnout. I was kind of surprised. They said there's like 1,600 people who responded. Averages out to like 52 and a half players per team, which is just about everybody in the league. Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. And it definitely does give you some insights. But yeah, treatment of families, but they rank it 18 out of 32.
23rd.
18 out of 32 in terms of like the area after the games. I'm a little surprised it's that high.
Well, the thing about the NFL is like it's all the NFL, but some places are really bad. Like you can never think the grass is always greener because it's not.
I wonder who's the worst.
Well, we're going to talk about some really bad ones in different categories, which is definitely areas you don't want to be bad. The Broncos rank 31st out of 32nd, so second to last in terms of that players feel like the team organizes family events enough. They said they only do it a couple of times a year. Is this something that was important to you?
Yeah, I mean, you always like having your kids around, and like you're away from them so much. So like I understand why guys would want to be able to have, a couple hours with their kids, especially at work. There's nothing cooler than coming to work with dad.
Especially when it's the work
and then
that,
you talk about you playing for the Broncos, like that's super cool. So yeah, I think it is cool.
Yeah. I think the other piece of it is that everybody in the locker room really likes each other now, which I'm not sure if that was always the case, but at this point they seem very, very close knit, which means they probably want more events together. If it was like a group of guys who didn't necessarily want to be spending more time together, it'd be a lot easier to say like, yep, we've got enough.
Here's also one more thing that maybe gets a little defense from the Broncos, especially the current ownership. My guess is the stadium doesn't have any room for an additional big room for the families because the stadium's been built. And my guess is with the way the Walton-Penners are, with now accepting families, accepting alumni back, they would have built this, especially after the first 2 years of seeing that players really complained about this in the first 2 years of this survey. So my guess is when they build the new stadium, they're going to make sure that there's the nicest one of these family rooms in the stadium for before, during, after games. And I don't think that this is going to be an issue anymore. I think it will jump up, but right now, for me, there is no defense of this. So let's move on to the next category, which is food and dining area. So it's the food and the dining area. Broncos get a B+ on this one. 10th out of 32, so top 10 here. The Broncos ranked 7th out of 32 in terms of food taste, which is probably important for players. The freshness of the food was 9th out of 32, and the dining area ranked 12th out of 32. So pretty good remarks from the food, and I think this has kind of been consistent for the Broncos for a long time now. And Todd, you were actually in the building eating the food. Is that right? It's always been pretty good?
I feel like the team has always invested in the nutrition aspect of sports. And so they've always had great food. They've always had good chefs. And it's not only like good, healthy food, but if you don't want anything on the line, like a chef will make you what you want. So if you have any problems, it's probably you and not the Broncos. I mean, they do a great job of having snacks, drinks. We talked about it. Whatever you want, it's there. I mean, and it's crazy because, like I said, not every team is the same. Up until a few years ago, some guys on some teams were paying for their food.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
Yep.
Because my whole career, I've always gotten good food, and I never had to think about paying extra. Some guys were getting cafeteria mac and cheese. Like, some of that has gone out. But just to think that even like 2 or 3 years ago, guys were still paying for their food when like the most important thing you can have for a player is nutrition outside of like the work they do on the field. It's crazy to me. So the Broncos should get an A in this category if it was up to me.
Which is why like this survey kind of started a few years ago, was so that those sorts of things would get put out there. And you still see like, you know, the Bengals don't give out 3 meals a day to everybody on their team. Yep. And that gets put in the list. Guess what? Now everybody, all the players, most importantly, know that you don't do that. Makes it tougher to sign them, but it puts that pressure on them to up the standards a little bit.
I don't know if anybody's not signing because of that, though.
I don't think anyone's not signing because of any of this, actually. It's just like, you really think a person's not going to sign a multi-million-dollar contract because they don't get 3 meals?
I mean,
and they go and get to play with Joe Burrow? Like, no, I don't think so.
It's not because
I think it is good to bring awareness, but I don't think this changes if people sign with the team or not.
I think big picture it could. I think like, again, like all the Woody Johnson stuff with the Jets, when push comes to shove, if you have a similar offer from the Jets and the others, like I don't think that this is like number one on the list of priorities, but when you go through all the different, like number one always is just money. Number 2 is like, how good is the team? Number 3 is like, Cincinnati is a less fun place to live versus Miami. But then eventually you get to the point where, you know,
it's probably 10th on the list.
Yeah, exactly.
And does that actually impact? You think?
Because I think
it could.
I think
former players saying it doesn't.
I think there's only 3 things: it's money, taxes, team.
Taxes. Team in terms of how good they are.
Yeah.
Teams
and players.
Yeah. And the money and taxes, those kind of go hand in hand.
Yep.
Sometimes you don't want to go play. Like the team part is also affected by like your terrible owner, you know?
I don't think so. No. I mean, the Broncos.
But that's why like
the Broncos won a Super Bowl when they did not have an owner.
The Chiefs have promised their players to redo their facility for years, haven't done it. Guys still go there like DeAndre Hopkins that are trying to win wings because that's what matters. Patrick Mahomes is there.
Yeah. Because the team is good. But
that's what I said.
Exactly.
So it's team.
But
it's
again,
money,
like, but
team.
you look at the Jets, like part of the reason they're bad is because of that owner.
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers went there.
Totally, he did. But like, if I still think like
Devontae Adams went there because of Aaron Rodgers. But they can get whoever they need as long as the team looks promising.
I think if the money's equal, I think teams go away from like those bad teams, and ownership is a part of that.
No, I think ownership's more important from a fan's perspective because that's the long-term play, and ownership is the most important thing when it comes to how good your team's going to be for the long term. But if you have Peyton Manning with Jim Irsay, who I don't think he's a good owner, and I think that's pretty well known that he's not a good owner, it doesn't matter because you have Peyton Manning right there. Yep. Now, long term, if I'm like taking a step back and wanting to decide my fandom, Well, it's Jim Irsay. It is Woody Johnson. I don't want to cheer for those teams because I know they're going to have issues over the years because of ownership. But not even for like a 10-year career of a player. I think that matters.
But again, like going back to just the player aspect, it's like the reason the team is bad is oftentimes because of the owner. You know.
Well, we're talking about the good teams,
and we're talking about year in and year out, not a big picture 10, 20, 30-year look.
Yeah, I guess I don't see the difference. Again, like the Jets are going to be the Jets. They're going to do Jets things for as long as that's the owner. I think sometimes things like this, it makes it easier to see like, wait, maybe the problem isn't that they're getting unlucky. Maybe the problem is that there are deep organizational issues and that's why they're always bad.
Do you like Alaska? Would you want to move to Alaska like tomorrow?
No, I wouldn't move to Alaska.
If there was a radio show, if we opened up a DNVR branch in Alaska and they're going to give you 5x what you make here, would you consider moving to Alaska?
Okay.
You don't know anybody.
5x.
You don't care.
Oh, yeah, but the vacation time, like you come down.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean,
that's exactly what it is.
All I said was if the money is equal, you're going to the good team, not the bad team. And a lot of the time, the ownership affects which teams are good and bad.
So the banks,
it can, but it doesn't have to.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think you can go to a good team with bad ownership, and you can go to a good team with good ownership. But I don't think you're going to say, hey, I want the one because of the good ownership. I think you're going to look ultimately who's on the team, and I'll go there.
Yeah. I would just add that, like, again, a team like the Jets who are just consistently bad for so long, sometimes like you see that and say like, wait, this isn't unlucky. This is bad ownership, bad management. Things aren't going to turn around.
So let's continue this because the Bengals got torched.
You know what? I would venture to say that outside of like the big name owners, players couldn't name 5.
Probably.
They probably know the Penners, the Crafts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why I think ownership
and
is way more important
and
for fans
that's
than
why
it
they
is
put
for
these
players.
surveys out too.
Yeah.
To say like, here is what you're kind of getting yourself into.
But you still don't even know the owners' names.
Absolutely
after
not.
reading this.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. I don't think that matters.
You think they know the head coach's
Here's
name
the
when they sign to a team?
Why do you think the
course.
NFLPA puts this out?
Because so they have leverage when it comes time to do negotiations. They're going to ask that kind of all 32 teams have a standard of how they have the operations in their building to move forward. Like it's a bargaining chip, I think, for them more so than anything else.
But then why would the team improve if the players just don't care?
Some places don't improve.
Yeah.
Some places don't care. But you have a lot of great owners in the league who are like, we could be doing better in this. Now they see the survey, they actually do see how it's going, and they choose to improve. But a lot of people don't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the NFLPA, like you said, does want bargaining chips when they come to the table for so many different things. So I think that's a really good point. But really quick, before we continue this conversation, got to give a shout out to our friends over at Bet365, where if you deposit $10, place a $5 bet, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose, if you use the promo code DNVR365 when you sign up over at Bet365. Scan the QR code on the screen to download the app. You can go to the App Store, download the Bet365 app, and use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. They've got deals going on for hockey right now. Parlay deals. They've got early payouts for basketball as well. It's, of course, Nuggets and Avs season right now. Avs won 5-1 last night. Henry was in the building to see it. If you put money on the Avs, you were going to win from last night. So if you want to win money with bonus bets, you can do that. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. Deposit $10 and place a bet of $5 or more to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose when you sign up. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, once help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Also, shout out to Lucy for all of our nicotine users out there. Yeah, that's tobacco free. They're nicotine pouches. They have an extra surprise as well, which is always fun. I feel like not enough things have extra surprises.
Wow, speak for yourself.
No, I'm just thinking like, what if there was just like a little flavor pouch inside myself? I don't think like in the water. It's just like all of a sudden there's just boom and you're
that wouldn't be water then.
You know,
in your mouth.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe
He
not.
does
But
want
it is
surprises.
in
Some
Lucy.
boom.
Maybe in Lucy it fits a lot better. They're pure nicotine. Have the actual thing. Set yourself up with a subscription, and you can have Lucy delivered straight to your door. Again, if you want to level up your nicotine routine, you can do it with Lucy at lucy.co/DNVR. Use promo code DNVR to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co and use code DNVR to get 20% off. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
I mean, the Broncos are so lucky to have good food because the Bengals got an F, and they graded pretty much dead last in every single category of food. With the taste of their food, it was dead last. Freshness of their food, dead last. The players' dining area was third worst in the NFL. They're not given 3 meals a day at their facility. I know the Cardinals last year got killed because they had to buy their dinner if they wanted to have it, which is crazy. And another thing that players don't care about, but a cool thing with the Broncos, everyone in the building gets all of this perk as well. Every single person.
It's awesome.
Yep. And I believe if you're leaving the building right before dinner time, you can bring dinner with you. They have to
Take
go
as
if
much,
you want.
and nobody's sitting there watching like, oh, you got
security guards.
You already had one helping, don't have any more. Like literally, take as much as you want.
Yep, exactly. The one thing that surprises me about the food served in NFL facilities, and I can say the Broncos facility because I know this, is how at times it can be pretty unhealthy. There's no shortage of fried food or something, and I'm just surprised because it's the team controlling that. It's not like they're not telling their players you can never eat fried food, but I'm just surprised that they are giving them the option to have unhealthy food.
That's fried in healthy oils.
Oh yeah, vegetable oil.
And then it's for everybody too. Like you said, it's not just players, it's management, it's front office. So players, you got to have a little bit of restraint sometimes because they have that cooler with all the ice cream sandwiches and stuff that I got to walk by all the time when I'm in there. Like, it's not some, you got to have a little bit of self-control.
Yeah. Also, like Cortland Sutton, built like a Greek god. Maybe stay away from those. Quinn Miners, who has to work to keep his weight up during the season, some fried food isn't the end of the world.
Yeah, I'm just surprised. I was. That was one of like the things when I first walked into the locker room and was like, wow, they're eating that. That's crazy. But they gotta keep them fed. So especially in training camp. Okay, let's move on to the.
So the other thing about the food though is that like there's the ranking out of all the 32 teams. Sometimes the raw number is more indicative. Like they averaged a 9 out of 10 in the player grades.
The Broncos?
Yeah. So like when the players voted, they said 9 out of 10. So while it's like, yeah, maybe there's 10 teams that did better or whatever, 9 out of 10, you're not going to do much better than that.
Yeah.
They're happy.
For nutritionist and dietitian, this one's interesting. Broncos get a C here, but they rank dead last in the NFL. I'm sorry. No, that was still on the Bengals one right there.
Yeah, okay.
The Broncos for nutrition and dietitian get A-, which is 6th best out of 32 here. They have individual nutrition plans, which they're very happy about, and they feel like their dietitian is very accessible. I think this is one, Todd, you can correct me if I'm wrong, where the Broncos have really always been strong in.
Yeah, they have. I think they have a new dietitian than when I was there, but ultimately they always, knew how important it was, like the fuel you put into your body to be successful. And not everybody is the same. Like some guys need 3 meals a day. Not everybody needs three meals a day.
That's what the Bengals are trying to tell their players. Not everyone needs to eat 3 meals.
Yeah. So it's just good to have something like specific to your body, how your body works, and how you burn calories.
To me, it's crazy that this wouldn't be a standard in the NFL.
That's what I'm saying. That it's not equal. Everything is not equal.
Which is crazy because could you imagine having Marvin Mims be on the same plan as a Quinn Miners? That's crazy. Like what? No, of course you have to have individual nutrition plans when you're talking about professional athletes where everything is about their body.
I doubt any team would have Quinn and Marvin have the same. Like it might just be more so like you're an offensive lineman, you eat this, or you're a receiver, you eat this. It still is terrible and crazy, but individualized meaning like Marvin, we want you at 189 pounds exactly. We need you. Like they even have that scale where you step on it. It says like your body composition, like have you been drinking enough water, all that sort of stuff. So they take that stuff seriously.
As they should. What they don't take seriously, I shouldn't say they don't take seriously, what they grade terribly in is their locker room. The Broncos get an F with their locker room. 30th out of 32, the third worst locker room in the NFL. 56% of Broncos that voted in this felt like they have enough room in their individual lockers, which is the fourth fewest in the NFL. 42% of players feel that the locker room size is adequate, ranking 30th out of 32. And this is not a surprise from my perspective. But Todd, you've been to the Saints locker room, you've been to the Broncos locker room, you've been to the Minnesota Vikings locker room. Are you surprised by this, or is this about right?
Yeah, I've always thought the locker room was nice, and they even redid it when I was there. So that's not like an old locker room, you know?
Yeah.
Because it couldn't be more than like maybe 6 years old from when they redid it.
Yep.
If you're mad about locker room space, then you just got to become a captain and you get 2 lockers.
That is true.
Everybody just got to do what they need to do to get that second locker.
Some guy gets cut from the practice squad, and whoever has seniority between the 2 guys next to him, you wind up with this.
Because I know Alex has 2 lockers, Pat has 2. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? You just got to step your game up.
Wow, you are tough, man. I'm going to take more of a player's perspective and back them than you are right now. The Broncos locker room's tiny. Now, I haven't been to the Saints locker room. I haven't been to the Vikings locker room.
Vikings is nice. There's
number 1 in the NFL.
Yeah. There's a large area for people to hang out in the middle room. They got a fireplace. They got enough space for everybody.
So I know you were in the building last training camp. I don't know if you saw the locker room, but now the locker room is set up the way it was set up when you were in training camp with the Broncos, where there's lockers in the middle.
Yep.
Now that's full time. So that takes away from a lot of the space that's there.
Yeah,
so I mean,
it used to take those out.
It is, exactly. It is a small locker room, and the locker like cubbies that everyone has, there's nothing special to them. I've seen other ones where they're really big and there's like massagers in them and stuff.
That's
and
in college.
It is. NFL. That is true. But
it's making its way to the NFL now. I think
NFL players are former college players, and that's kind of what they get used to.
Well, and so even digging around, talking to some current players, they're like, yeah, it's way too small.
It is.
But here's where I think the Broncos get a pass right now.
They're literally building a whole new facility right now.
Exactly. And they known that they were going to do this really since ownership took over. So the locker rooms are nice. It's not like they're crummy locker rooms, like you said, Todd. They are nice. It's just small. I would imagine that this new facility is going to have very big lockers, very big locker room, and this will go from F to an A.
And there won't just be like the random lounge that like you leave the locker room and you go through the hallway and then turn and you get that like.
What, you mean the former media room?
That's what they say.
That's where you guys used to be?
Not for me.
Oh.
Yeah, that was before my time.
The new players lounge.
Yeah, right there.
Yep, that was the media room.
Oh, it was. That's where we used to do our
exactly.
Yeah.
That Nathaniel Hackett. That was his lasting impact on the team, was changing that to a player's lounge. You guys
say he did nothing good in there. See?
But again, the point is that it's no longer like just this separate thing. Like the Vikings, they just have like a whole bunch of space where you go and sit down, and they have couches and you hang out. Yeah.
Speaking of places that players hang out, the training room attached to the Broncos locker room. Broncos got a B. They were 14th out of 32 teams. 96% of Broncos said they felt like they have enough full-time trainers. 91% feel like they have enough full-time physical therapists. 57% of players feel like they have enough hot tub space, and 90% of players feel like they have enough cold tub space. So Broncos' big ding there is not enough hot tub space in the training room. I've never been in the Broncos training room. That is very much off limits for media. So Todd, your expertise on this.
This is hard because the only way you have enough space for 90 guys at any given time is just to build a pool that's just keep extra hot. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, I think there's no way everybody's going to fit. Everybody got to find a way to make room for each other.
Yeah.
Cold tubs were plenty big for me because I never got in them. So
that's probably perfect.
Well, don't you shrink when you get in a cold tub too?
That's what they say. I don't know.
57% of players say they don't have enough hot tub space. 90% say they have enough cold tub space.
There you go.
Nobody's spending any extra time there.
Some people they love the cold tub. Some people get in there before practice, after practice. Like I don't need to be cold ever.
I never got that.
Yeah, it's supposed to rejuvenate your legs, but like
really,
I'll do a Theragun or a hot tub or a
my
massage.
Legs just are all good.
Yeah.
Also, I believe there is no sauna. Is that right? Or not enough room for a sauna?
Yeah, there's no sauna right now. They got cryo and things like that they put in when I was there.
Do you believe in the cryo?
I like the cryo. Cryo's not 3 minutes.
Okay.
In and out.
Okay.
That's 33 minutes?
3 minutes.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Those things. And those are new as of like 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Yep.
So they did upgrade this before moving to the new building. But yeah, no sauna. That was something that some players told me they didn't really like.
There's a steam room.
Yeah, but not a sauna. Let's move on to training staff. Broncos get a 12th out of 32, a B+ here. 89% of Broncos report that they received enough one-on-one treatment, which is 12th out of 32, and the players feel their training staff moderately contributes to their overall success, ranking them 14th out of 32.
They were the healthiest team in the NFL last year?
Yeah.
I mean,
training staff.
Training staff is pretty important for that. So
yeah, so maybe honestly they didn't get enough credit here. It should have been an A, shouldn't have been 12th out of 32. Bo Lowry knows what he's doing.
Yep.
And his
Shout out
staff
Vince.
that he's employed. Yep, exactly. And let's hit a quick break here before we dive into a couple of more because there's more to get to. But before we get to them, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Toyota, where if you are going to the mountains this weekend or anytime this winter or spring skiing, Toyota is the car for you. And might I recommend, if you're in the market, look for the Toyota Land Cruiser. They dropped the new edition last year. They're having one this year, and it is so cool. I've seen a couple of new Land Cruisers on the roads, and they are awesome. Whether you want a big SUV like that or the 4Runner or a truck, they've been in the truck game for generations with their Tundra iForce Max. They even got the hybrid edition of that truck. Or you're looking for something smaller, a RAV4 or a Supra, their sports car. They've got it all over at Toyota. So if you're looking for a car for yourself, your significant other, a kid, a parent, Toyota has got you covered. And make sure that you check them out at a Front Range store at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Rappahannock Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
And shout out to Coors Light. I actually had a beer that wasn't Coors Light at the Avalanche game last night. I was like, you know what? Change it up. And it came with a lime. So I was like, okay, just shove that lime in this big can. Just tasted like lime at the beginning, and then it was like all slimy at the end. I was like, what am I doing? I've never gotten anything but Coors Light at these Avs games. I was like, yeah, it's just a fun night. We'll change it up. Don't change it up. Coors Light really is the best, especially in those situations. I'm hopefully going to the Wild game tomorrow night. Not a lock, but I really hope so because I'd love just to drink like 3 of those big old Coors Lights and yell it. I hate the Wild. I really hate the Wild.
Isn't your girlfriend a Lions fan?
Not a Lions fan, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. A Wild fan.
Yes, she is from Minnesota. That's the one team
maybe
she
don't
cheers
yell
for
at
when they
them.
play. No, it's important. She can't go. She's taking pictures at the DU hockey game tomorrow. But yeah, so I'll be drinking Coors Lights. Even if we don't do that, we'll probably just go to a bar or something, watch it there. Coors Lights, they're the best. Choose chilled, choose Coors Light. And you can pick them up at just about any store. Or when you want to choose chill this winter and reach for Coors Light, you can get Coors Light delivered straight to your door by visiting CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Let's move to the weight room where players spend a lot of their time. Broncos get a B, but they're 20th out of 32 teams here. Players believe that the weight room equipment is good quality, which ranks as the 6th worst. Again, I'm not too worried about this because I imagine that they're going to have a state-of-the-art weight room in just next year, 2026, when they build their new facility. And I would imagine that the Walton-Penners are going to buy top-of-the-notch equipment for this weight room as well. But right now, I'm not surprised by this. The weight room's had to move a couple of times because just the team gets bigger. And so it's kind of been like makeshift for quite a while now, but that's not going to be an issue moving forward.
When did the weight room move?
I think it's been where it has been for like a decade or so now.
Oh, okay.
But I think it was in the old, like the current actual headquarters. But now you have to like go outside and walk across the parking lot to get there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the space. But like you said, I'm excited to see what it's going to be in the new building because I know it's going to be top of the line.
Yeah. Again, like ranks them 27 out of 32, but the players believe the weight room equipment is good quality. It's just that good quality
isn't great quality or elite quality.
Exactly. It's not something you really need to be too concerned about, I wouldn't think.
Man, if I'm always a player, though, and you're working out, once or twice a day, I'd want the best quality. I wouldn't want just good.
Definitely.
I wouldn't
be enough to choose where you're going to go, though.
Have you been in there?
I had many years ago. We did like a tour of the entire facility, and I don't know what's been updated since.
It's nice. I mean, the turf is nice. The weights are nice. Can't really get better weights.
That's not what the Broncos are saying.
Like, do you want them all shiny or something?
Yes,
like,
of
I don't
course.
know.
I mean, there's a difference. Look, I go to my local community rec center and
supporting the community.
Exactly, yeah, supporting the city.
Yes.
And it's nothing special. It gets the job done. But if I'm an NFL player, I probably want the place that's going to be special and have all the extremely nice stuff.
It's better than any gym in Denver.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the Vikings who have that new facility.
What's sadly not as nice as I thought it was going to be Lifetime. Like the facility is nice as far as like the amenities, but like the actual weight room, I wasn't a fan.
They seem like
that's just me though.
They have a bunch of fluff. It's all about the fluff there.
There's a lot of great amenities like the smoothie bar and the pools and things like that.
I call that fluff.
Oh.
Yeah. I think my gym doesn't have like the pull down thing.
It doesn't even have a pool. Where do you go?
It's just in my building. It has everything else that I like except for that one thing. And so I've thought like I could get a membership and just like once a week just like go crazy on that one machine. I was like, I'm not. That'd be a weird decision to make.
Wow.
It wouldn't be Lifetime. I would just go tour one of those like $20 a month, you know.
So we're talking about weight rooms.
Things down.
Strength coaches are important for weight rooms, right?
Shout out Dan.
Well, maybe not shout out Dan.
Oh, Dan.
Broncos third worst with their strength coaches getting a B- here. Third worst is interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little shakeup with this room in the next week or so, 2 weeks or so. But yeah, Dan, how do you pronounce his last name?
What do you know?
Darrywinkle?
I just call him Dan.
Dalrymple.
Dalrymple.
Yes, not Darrywinkle.
He's the lead, and I think he has a pretty big staff under him too. But third worst. I mean, it's not bad. It's still a B-. But apparently, everyone else in the NFL loves their strength staff.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah. What is really good? Sixth best. Broncos get an A in team travel. And Todd, has this improved since you were with the team?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it wasn't an A when you were with them.
Well, yeah. Now they have their like own plane, and everybody gets great seats. I wasn't in one of those seats because I was just an intern, so I was in the back with all the great media members.
Oh wow!
Interns with the media. I love that.
Yeah. But no, they have a great like I think double-decker plane now, and everybody gets like I think like most of it feels like first class.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And that's not what it was like.
No. We had a very different. We had just a regular plane, and then all like the front office sat in the first class, and all the players sat in the back.
Yep.
I know that they switched that like the year after I left, where they put all the players in first class.
Of course, it was
Everybody
right
sat in
after
the
you
back,
left.
But yeah, that's what it was when I was here.
And I believe that the players, at least since Sean's been here, they stay in the nicest hotels in whatever city. I don't know where they stay in Buffalo. That might be one where
it's just not many options.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But I think Sean makes sure that they're always staying in a nice place. And of course, the Walton-Penners now are in charge of that. Speaking of Sean, this is the one.
Oh, real quick on the team travel.
Yeah.
I thought this one was funny. They ranked 25th out of 32 in the players thinking the team's travel schedule is efficient. Can you think of why they might have thought the travel schedule was inefficient?
Yes, because when they went to Buffalo 2 years ago, Sean had them there for like 4 nights.
Okay.
And it was in Buffalo on the road leading up to a Monday night game where, of course, they went and beat the Bills with Russell Wilson as their quarterback. But I know players that drove them insane.
I was thinking West Virginia. I was thinking, again, staying for a week out there, West Virginia. I could see that making me feel like I wouldn't give high ranks for efficiency.
Yeah, definitely.
But there are multiple examples, so not a surprise they're 25th out of 32 there.
And Sean Payton was the one to make these decisions, and Sean gets a B in this, ranked 26th out of 32, and I just think this is wrong because every player that I've talked to that made it with the team longer than a year, so every player that was in the locker room last year, loved Sean.
Yeah.
And so I do not think that they truly think he's, the 7th worst head coach in the NFL, or 7th worst head coach to play for. I don't think that's true at all. In fact, I think Sean can come across a little rude to the media at times, and there's some stories as well. But I think when it comes to playing for him, players love him. As long as you're one of his guys, and I think if he's just weeded out all of the guys that aren't his guys, I think players absolutely love playing for him because he's loyal to them. He is going to treat them right. I mean, he told the story that when he makes players wear cleats that have long, what are those things called?
Spikes.
Long spikes. It like hurts their feet. Then he brings in like 50 feet massagers the next day to massage their feet. So he takes care of the players. So I just I don't know what questions they asked, but I think they asked the wrong ones for this one.
Yeah, that's trash. I know. I talked to a lot of guys in that locker room, and everybody loves Sean. And like you said, I think he's a great coach to play for, and all he asks you to do is come in there and work hard. So if you have a problem with him, that's probably something's wrong with you and your effort. So I personally don't know any player that has an issue with Sean.
Yeah, exactly. Like he obviously isn't the 7th worst head coach in the NFL, but you just have to remember, like, the players weren't asked, how much do you like playing for Sean? They were asked 2 specific questions.
Well, we don't know if this is all encompassing, right?
I would imagine it is. Just because, again, like, because this winds up being like 20 questions, and you typically wouldn't ask players to fill out more than that. Because this is one where they go into the locker room and do it, right?
I'm not sure.
Maybe not.
So, but what was your point?
So again, like, I think if they had asked him, do you enjoy playing for Sean? I think that you probably would have gotten higher marks.
Well, isn't that what the question should be? If you're asking players to grade their head coach,
for sure,
shouldn't that be one of them?
Sure.
Do you enjoy playing for him? Or on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you enjoy playing for him?
Sure. But again, what they asked was what they said, the players feel that Payton is moderately receptive to locker room feedback on the team's needs, ranking him 29th of 32 head coaches. Again, it's like
what you want him to do? Just do whatever you ask?
Exactly.
You hired him to be the head coach.
Exactly.
For sure.
Like,
I
hired
think a
Sean
couple
Payton.
years ago, we've had somebody that...
Totally.
Oh, Nathaniel Hackett gave them what they wanted.
Exactly.
Well, I wasn't saying any names, but...
Exactly.
I think that I like head coaches that take control. And I think players have a voice, but ultimately, I am the head coach. So if I choose to go with your decision, great, we can move forward. But if I don't, I think you have to respect that. And I think that's how it should be. It shouldn't be like every time I come to you with a concern, or every time the leadership council has something they want to say, we just go that route. No, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit of teamwork to get this thing done.
Especially when you're Sean Payton. Like, you've won a Super Bowl. You're the 4th oldest coach in the NFL. You've been coaching for forever. Like, I'm not surprised at all that he's ranked, like, what would that be, like 4th in the NFL in terms of stubbornness among head coaches?
I don't think he's stubborn.
That's not what you call it?
Not at all.
Because I think what this says, though, is like the players say, we want to do something, and he says, no, we're going to do my thing. And I think that's the right thing for him to do.
I don't think
I don't know. If
Really?
that's what it
I don't
says
think
to
players
me.
go up to him and say we need to do something different,
think
and he
that's
says no. I don't really think there's. I find
They asked
this
the
one
question.
completely
They asked the
wrong.
question.
Yeah,
And that's the result.
and I think that it is extremely misleading. If those are the only 2 questions they asked, that's extremely misleading
For
about
sure.
what a head coach is, because I do think outside perception, and I don't think Sean has fully helped himself with this, but outside perception is that Sean is a tough guy to play for. And I thought that's what the Broncos were getting when they hired him. Like, man, he's going to come in and whip this building into shape, and it's not going to be fun for the players, but they're going to end up being good. Bill Belichick is essentially what I thought they were getting with Sean. And I've learned over the past years that's not the case at all. Guys love playing for him, and there is a lot of give and take. If players work hard for Sean, he's going to give them the entire bye week off. You know who didn't give them the entire bye week off? Nathaniel Hackett, Vic Fangio. I don't even think Gary Kubiak did. But Sean says, there's going to be give and take, and you're going to have the entire bye week off. you're not going to be on the field practicing for the first 6 weeks of the off-season program. It's just all weight room stuff. You're going to be in and out a couple hours a day instead of 3 full days in the building. So I find this so wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I again don't find it wrong. I think the answers to the questions they asked, I think the results don't really surprise me. But again, if they were asking do you think Sean is one of the 5 best coaches in the NFL? I think the results would be yes, we think he is. But when you're asked, is he listening to feedback and changing plans because of that? Or the other one is, again, 80% of players feel like Sean Payton is efficient with their time, a rank out of 27 of 32. If those are the 2 questions, we know Sean and we like Sean and we enjoy Sean's stories, but I'm not surprised that 1 in 5 players would think, yeah, maybe this does drag on a little bit. Or maybe we're late to practice.
I think he's very efficient with their time, though, because maybe not meeting to meeting, but again, what I just said about the bye week, that's players' time that he's giving them fully off. The off-season program, typically, it's literally almost 2 months that he's giving them a way easier schedule. That's players' time too.
All I'll say is this: I feel like
you're a hater.
If people were to
ask
me,
you're a hater. Is that what you said?
No. I feel like if people ask me is Sean Payton efficient with my time, I'd say, well, there's about 45 minutes to start at most practices where we're waiting or
that
late
was
at
the
the end.
exact same with Vic Fangio.
No,
it was the exact same with Nathaniel Hackett.
But what I would say is that I'm not comparing it. I'm just saying yes or no. Do I feel like it's efficient? I'll be like, maybe not. I get that. And that's nothing to do with how the players feel. But if the players feel that way, we can think what we think. The player, there is an answer here. And the answer is that they just don't think he's super efficient, which I don't think is a bad thing because we know things he does. The stories of him dressing up as Bill Belichick before the Saints played the Patriots and doing an impersonation. Yeah, 80% of people said this is awesome. It was fun. Whatever. It helped us win a game. If 1 in 5 people said that kind of felt like a waste of time, that wouldn't surprise me either.
Final one here, and the most important one in my mind, ownership. Broncos get the 4th best grade from an ownership perspective. They get an A. My guess is once that new facility opens in the summer of 2026, this will be an A+, because this ownership from on the field, off the field, from football things to community stuff, they have gone above and beyond in every single thing. In my opinion, this is the best. I mean, you can't get better of an ownership group than the Broncos have with the Walton-Penner ownership group in the first couple of years. So, and honestly, like we kind of talked about earlier, ownership's the most important thing for long-term success for a franchise. So this is the best news for Broncos country, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they're present. Not only is the team important to them, but the community is. Everything they just did, giving the helmets to the kids in Colorado. So I think ultimately they've done a great job of coming in here and, being great for the entire community of Denver. So, like I said, I don't know anybody who has a problem with the ownership either. They're great. They're great people, very personable. And on top of that, they're willing to spend money where it counts. They're willing to make sure their players are well taken care of. Yeah, I think they're awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
So that gives the Broncos a final grade and ranking of 17th out of 32, which, again, I don't think is right, and kind of went through all of it. But in a couple of years, after the new facilities there, with the new weight room, with better weights, with a bigger locker room, I think we're going to see this thing shoot through the roof.
Do you have the rankings?
Right
Can we see
now.
who was 1 through 16?
Yes, we can. Henry, do you have that pulled up? If not, I can find it too.
Now. They were 16th last year.
They dropped back 1 this year. The number 1 team. Oh man, I can't do it. What the heck?
Dang.
Oh, there we go. Oh wow, it just took me back to the same page I just left. There we go.
Todd, you asked too good of a question.
I know, my bad, guys.
Henry, you got it?
No, there was a way to sort before, but I think they took it away.
Wow. Okay, well, when we look for that, let's move on. Today's a tight end day. out at the combine here, and the tight ends talked, and man, it seems like the Broncos are meeting with every single tight end at the combine here. And there's some cool Colorado connections too. So obviously everyone knows about Tyler Warren. Everyone knows about Colston Loveland, the 2 tight ends that are projected to go first or in the first round. But then there's other guys like Gunnar Helm. You know where Gunnar Helm was born? Colorado. Went over to Texas and succeeded at Texas. He's a athletic receiving tight end. He met with the Broncos. Terrence Ferguson, the tight end with Oregon, who played with Bo. He's also from Colorado, went to Heritage High School, and Broncos are meeting with him, and just so many. Arroyo, we know he's kind of like maybe that 3rd tight end in the draft, a 2nd-round pick. He's met with the Broncos. He says he's met Bo Nix, would love to play with him. So no surprise, but the Broncos are really, really doing their research on tight ends in the draft this year. From the top guys all the way down to, I think Terrence Ferguson could be a 3rd, 4th, 5th-round pick. So they're looking everywhere for a tight end, just like they should be.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, they were going to do their homework. They're going to do their research. They're just trying to find the right guy, because we said that Joker, tight end, running back can come in the 1st round, come in the 5th round. We don't really know where he's going to come, but they're definitely going to interview anybody and everybody who plays tight end.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, they better be talking to all of them, because they need... I guess they'll probably sign one in free agency and then draft one, but if they don't sign one, then they should probably draft 2, so... We'll see.
Yep, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up drafting 2, and that's why we're going to continue to break it down. We got 2 months until the draft. But guys, well, let's wrap this up with one question. If it's not one of the top 2 tight ends, which tight end stands out to you right now that would be a good fit for the Broncos?
I mean, I'm still a huge Harold Fannin fan. Like, I think he's awesome. I think he's going to put up a pretty crazy time in the 40-yard dash. I'm pretty sure he's running. I'm not sure when tight ends are. That must be tomorrow. But yeah, I think the things that he does, again, we talked about, like, is the Broncos' offensive identity the screen game? Like, he's maybe the best screen tight end in the draft. Him and Tyler Warren just break so many tackles. But yeah, I mean, Harold Fannin, fast, moves well, give him the ball underneath, has soft hands so you can run him up the seam. People are upset because he's probably only going to be about 230 pounds. If that upsets you, then don't be talking about Juwan Johnson, because he's also 230 pounds. Like, that's just kind of the type of player he is. So I think that'd probably be my 3rd right now.
I like that, Todd.
I don't even know. I gotta be honest. I'll watch the combine and see who sticks out to me, and then probably go back and watch their film from there. But
yep.
I'll have some answers in the next couple of days.
You will have some answers. I know that. We got some salary cap numbers that came down today. We know the official salary cap number is now set at $279 million, which is a $24 million rise from where it was just last year. That's a star that you can add right there. It's higher projection, or it's higher than the projections were even set to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody will say, how does it work? There's like a group of smart people who know their economics and say, like, well, it doesn't really matter that there's more space because everybody gets that more space. And so, like, it doesn't really change what you can do. I would say that it does, because teams like the Patriots, who have $130 million in cap space, they aren't spending all that. So having the extra, this is $10 million more maybe than we expected it to be. Them having the extra $10 million in cap doesn't change a single thing they'll do this offseason. They'll help them out in the long run because you get to roll it over, all that sort of stuff. But for teams like the Broncos, who are in the middle of the pack, like, this is one more player that maybe you do get to add, or you don't have to worry about restructuring so much this year. Is probably how it actually plays out. So again, it's not a huge difference just because everybody does get that space, but for the 20-25 teams who are going to have to think about the salary cap this year, it helps them out a little bit more compared to those others.
I actually think that, this actually helps the Broncos more than it helps other teams, because the Broncos still have Russell Wilson's dead cap. I think they have $35 million in dead cap. That doesn't increase with the salary cap increasing. That stays the same. So if the cap would have only raised $5 million, then that dead cap would have been more percentage of the cap right now. So this actually, you can legitimately make a case that this helps the Broncos more than other teams, and maybe more than any other team in the NFL, because they still have this massive dead cap hit but for one player. Massive dead cap hit for one player.
Yeah.
But the Broncos are still, after this year, then they're all good. Then the rise won't help them as much. But it's a good time to have a $24 million jump this year because of the $35 million that the Broncos have to eat with Russell Wilson. Okay, final thing that I wanted to get to today. Did you guys hear the media drama going on in Indianapolis yesterday?
Not at all.
Henry, did you? I'm sure you did, right? So let's give you a little backstory here to this. There was a report yesterday from Jordan Schultz who said essentially that let me pull these up. So he tweeted out that Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady hosted Matthew Stafford for a ski weekend to recruit him to the Raiders at a ski resort in Hank's home state, Montana. Then Ian Rappaport didn't respond directly to it, but just put out on his own that they ran into each other at a resort in Montana. There was no hosting or recruiting trip. They just happened to run into each other. Well, Jordan Schultz didn't like that Ian Rappaport was kind of subtweeting him and telling him that his report was wrong. So Jordan Schultz then tweeted, if you really think Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford just happened to run into each other at a ski resort in Montana, of all places, at that exact same time, I've got a bridge to sell you. They were together intentionally. And by the way, Henry, are you okay with that shot from Jordan Schultz at Montana?
This guy's a moron. We've known that for a while.
Wow, okay. Well,
it's the truth, though. It's the truth,
You might want to watch out what you say because Jordan Schultz is on a hot streak right now.
Yeah, I'm barely on Twitter at this point. He can beat me up there. I won't see it. Yeah.
Wow. You're here taking shots at Henry now. So then Tom Pelissero, one of Ian Rappaport's co-workers, reached out for comment about this, and Tom Brady's agent told Tom Pelissero, I know that reporters sometimes make mistakes in their haste, but this story's inaccurate, talking about Jordan Schultz. So now it's Jordan Schultz against Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. Then apparently yesterday afternoon, Ian Rappaport was at Starbucks in the JW Marriott in Indianapolis, where a lot of people are, talking to an agent, and Jordan Schultz came up to him and interrupted the conversation and said, we need to talk. And Ian Rappaport said, no, we don't. There's nothing to talk about. And Jordan Schultz got in Ian Rappaport's face, and I think just started cussing him out. Now, Jordan Schultz has denied that he was cussing him out, but there were a lot of people there.
Yeah.
You think he cussed him out?
I don't know a lot about the guy, but what I know, yeah. Also, his dad founded Starbucks.
Yep.
Who?
Jordan
Schultz is his dad?
Yeah.
Howard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Andrew might be his grandpa or something.
Get out of my store.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's like that's.
Why is he a reporter? Is this just what
because he thought it'd be a fun job and he has unlimited money.
Tons of money. He said, if you have anything to say it to my freaking face, he told Rappaport. Apparently, Rappaport really didn't say anything. And then Rappaport called NFL security, and now it's being looked into. So
why didn't he just fly Tom and Matt on the private jet and ask them
you would think.
That's crazy.
Also,
that's a good point.
That's fire. I would have flew to Montana and seen what was up if my dad is.
If I had that much money, I would never step foot in Indianapolis in the rest of my life.
He wasn't a JW Marriott.
I don't care. Go to the JW Marriott in Miami.
Wow. Oh, you just wouldn't work, is what you're saying.
No, that much money.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, maybe I'd have I might start like a foundation or something. Not like a serious one.
If you're going to if you have like endless money because your dad started Starbucks, isn't this kind of a cool job to do? Is like be a sports reporter? Like, isn't that the one where you would do?
I mean, either that or like you start like the Henry Chisholm Foundation, and it's like, what do? We put clothes on dogs or something.
I don't know if I would like report on sports. I would be like, Dad, we should buy a team.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
And then I manage it, not like the guys. And
how much is he worth? Can you guys look that up? Howard Schultz. How much is he worth? I guarantee
he can buy at least a piece of a team.
A controlling stake in a team? Because now I think that's actually come down. I think you only have to have 33% of the money to be the controlling owner of an NFL team. I think, or
he's
that
worth $3.7 billion.
So he could buy 33%.
You'd have to like sell a bunch of your stocks, and like I wonder how much of that is just like his Starbucks stocks. And like would you have to get rid of all that?
3.4 billion. So you imagine his son would probably be the insider of that team, though. You'd probably be able to get all the breaking
I'd be
news.
the GM.
Yeah, what's the point?
What was that Netflix story where the guy bought his son that hockey team? Yeah. He was. You guys have seen that, right?
No.
I have not.
You guys are crazy.
What's it even called? You haven't
Is
even
this
told
a
me the
30
name
for
of the
30
movie.
or what?
So you guys have heard the story about there's a team in New Jersey.
Oh.
This guy from the mob bought his son a hockey team.
Called Untold Crime and Penalty.
Untold crime and penalties.
Yeah, he was like 18 years old, but the kid acted as the GM, and they were getting a whole bunch of like retired NHL players are paying him in like bags full of cash.
Wow,
and it
that's
was like called the
incredible.
And this
Thrashers,
is-
and they were like,
Is this different than the guy
Really quick,
who like
we're
bought the
continuing
team?
this
but-
conversation. Go over the DNVR.com for overtime.
Is that different than the guy who like bought the team but never had the money and just kept saying like, oh, the
Different.
check didn't go? That's
No,
a different thing.
yeah.
The kid only wanted to see fights, so he bought a bunch of enforcers.
Yep.
So they just fought all the time.
And he had some like legends though on the team.
Yeah, he had like good, like I think Yanni Vidal, like one of the guys like that played.
We can't hear you. You have to have a headphone on.
Oh, yeah. We're all like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They can't hear anything. Matthew says that Schultz owned the Sonics.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So if that happened during their move, though, maybe you don't want him owning an NFL team. I don't know.
I sold him, right?
And then the move happened
I think they sold him to a group that moved him.
that moved him.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that is cool then. So Henry, don't see Jordan Schultz.
Yeah.
At a Starbucks.
I mean, Jordan. Oh no!
I gotta
Jordan
say,
Schultz.
Ian Rappaport put out, or not Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, who's like the third leg of all of this, but wasn't involved in this one, but is kind of rivals with all of them.
Yeah.
Put out a tweet today of himself in, or it wasn't himself, but the Starbucks in the JW Marriott,
Yeah.
and said, "My head's on a swivel."
Yeah, that's why it's like Ian Rappaport is just doing his job. Like his job is literally like everybody starts asking like from whatever the news desk at ESPN, like, is this true? Or I guess he's NFL Network. Like, is this true that actually these guys met? And so his job is literally to find out if they met and then say whether they did or not. And obviously they didn't, because that's, again, like it's the rich people. Like Tom Brady's 3 doors down from like who's that guitar guy that Ryan likes? John Mayer. John Mayer. So, but it's like all those same rich people, and they all go to the resort. So it's like, yeah, they all like it. It probably is nothing. And if Ian Rappaport says that, he's just doing his job. You don't need to throw a little fit.
Wouldn't that be a great get for the Raiders though?
Totally.
That would be a
Oh, yeah,
fantastic
absolutely.
get.
Unfortunately,
Absolutely.
it
Yes.
would. Yep.
Yeah.
Especially with Pete Carroll, like talk about there'd be no better way for them to turn their organization around for a short period of time
And
than
Matthew
getting
ha-
Pete Carroll and Matt Stafford in offseason.
And he still has it. He's not like
for a
falling
year
off
or
a
two.
cliff.
Yeah.
For sure.
He got him almost to the NFC Championship game.
Absolutely.
What, it was 4th and 10 from the Eagles 22, and a touchdown would have won it. I think they were down 5 points. Yeah. So unfortunately, let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope he goes to the Giants, which is where reports are going. But we're going to continue to follow this and all Broncos news. We've got one more show tomorrow at 11 a.m. Shout out to Henry. Shout out to Todd for making this show awesome. Shout out to you here, Dion, Zach Stevens. Appreciate you all. Love you all. We'll see you guys tomorrow to wrap up this week of shows at 11 a.m.
We all silly like the mayor.